Joseph R. Wheeler III, artist founder, president of the ONYXCON Foundation. Welcome back to another one of your number one sensation in 2026. We are the 501c3 Arts and Creative Lifestyle multi-niche programming platform network over many applications, including YouTube, Instagram, I guess we say Twitch, because I don't be on Twitch a lot, but I be on Twitch every now and then. I need to do that in 26, just to, go back to my plan of trying to have that as another option of broadcasting our gaming content, especially. And most of our gaming content can be found right here under the folder. You gotta look under our playlist. I always tell y'all all the time, you're not really enjoying everything that's here if you're not looking at the playlist. We have an entire library worth of content. And under Bustin' Pixels, you'll find our gaming content, okay? I do a lot of gaming when I can. When I can, is the main words there, because like right now, you see the fluorescent, you see lemon drop. I call this lemon drop. Lemon drop is in effect, you know what I mean? We're about to get back to it, how we have to do it. Going out here to get me an order. Got me a route today, so I'm gonna be way out here in the other parts of the metro area. And as much as I say I get tired of doing this, I will say the one part of it I like is the adventure element of visiting parts of Atlanta, the metro I haven't been to in a while, seeing some stuff I haven't been around in a while, seeing how it changes, what's been built up, I always see stuff that I haven't seen or didn't know existed or didn't know had been built and all that. So it's a tour. It's a tour of my own towns, plural, big time, for the cultures. I say we do it over here. We do it for the cultures, plural, because there is no one way to be. We interested in all perspectives to see it from every angle and understand the world to be a better place, right? To find some peace in a world of war and chaos. Ain't gonna go too far down that road, but I've spoke on it. I've put up a piece recently, a short, and I played the classic song along with it, and I said, "War, huh, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing." Say it again. War, huh. You better know it, man. Absolutely nothing. I said that many years ago, singing that song. When I used to work with senior citizens, right? And I used to teach them, very watered down art projects, visual arts, because I'm a visual artist first and foremost. And at this particular place of many that I used to go, because I used to always go to, like, in a week I would be at like 4 different, sometimes 5, or I can't remember how many sometimes, but always at least 3 or 4 senior centers throughout the metro area. And one of them was located on so one of the main ones I was at was, shout out to Darnell Center over there in Adamsville area and all of that. I used to be over there, and the west side, ATL. And then I'd be in, I used to teach in Vine City at one time. I used to teach in Grant Park at one time. And then I had this place in Sandy Springs. So if you know anything about Atlanta, all the other areas I just mentioned are predominantly black communities. Sandy Springs has been for a while a mostly white, well-off community. Now, there were black people up there at that center too, and there were also a few Asians, not many Asians, not many Latinas or Latinos, a few, but most of the people I would talk were mostly white, a few black folk. It was kind of like 70% black, 70% white, maybe 20% black, and then 10% everybody else. And everybody else, like, there was one gentleman, I just mentioned him, he ain't really got nothing to do with this particular story, but that was my buddy, man, Mr. Katami, Muhammad Katami, Tommy. He was from Iran, and we got to be really good friends. He thought I was from Iran the day he met me. It was so funny. He started speaking in Farsi and Persian. He'd always be so excited, thinking that I was somebody from back home, and that was a flattery to me because I just like to be able to relate to people. And I found out he loved chess as much as I do, so we would play chess, and that was fun, so much fun. Because every time I almost beat him, he was good. He was really good. He beat me a bunch of times. I beat him. But every time I'd be ready to beat him, he'd always be moving my pieces. I'd be like, man, you touching, you playing the white. I'm playing black. How you grabbing my pieces? He was like, no, you're cheating. Headman was hilarious. Hilarious, man. But we would have us out fun, right? So anyway, anytime I mention that place, I got to mention him. That was my buddy, like I said. And there's a bunch of other people I loved, really close. I mean, all ethnicities, anybody. If we were good, we were good. We were great. And I got along with everybody. And everybody loved me like a grandchild up there, just like they did everywhere I went, right? But there was this one dude, one bitter old white guy that was sitting in the corner. He didn't want to talk to nobody. I mean, nobody. He barely say two words to his damn self. I mean, he just that little funky thing in the room, And I remember one day there was some other conflict back then, similar to what we're going through right now, worldwide, with this insanity that's coming out of our so-called leadership of creating war to cover up, and deflect people's attention from the files that will reveal not just their actions, but others involved in all kind of heinous activities, right? But to deflect that, they want to start wars and all this other craziness, right? So just like how that is now, there was something going on then. What I'm talking about, this was probably early, what would that have been? That could have been as far back as early 2010, 11, 12, 13, somewhere in there. So whatever the world conflicts were at that time, yeah, that would apply to this moment. And so I remember everybody was in a doldrum because everybody knew, it's like the news affects older folk differently, right? They got more time on their hand to sit in front of a TV half the time, and that's not good for their mind, but this is what a lot of them do. And the only main reason why a lot of their families would put them in a center where I was working is to give them things else to think about. Get your mind off something else, keep your mind working. Because if you're sitting there watching the TV all day, oh my gosh. And then it's daytime TV, nothing but news, little, cheesy sitcoms and all kind of fluffy nonsense and whatever. Oh my gosh, man, their brain go to poo in like months. They literally, anybody who can attest to what I'm talking about, ever dealt with people who had Alzheimer's or stuff like that, it is the worst thing that can happen to their brains, for real, for real. It's really, really bad. And so they, what's up, good morning. And so, they sitting around moping like they do. And I didn't want them to be in that zone, so I'm getting them all hyped up. Let's get hyped, let's get crunk, let's, getting them playful and laughing and carrying on. But they still were kind of in it. And then I said, well, let's talk about what it is, because I know what's on y'all mind. We started talking about whatever that issue was with pending war and craziness in the world. And they were like, and everybody was feeling where I was coming from about it. It never amounts to nothing good, right? And then we all started singing that song. We was like, war, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing, all of that, right? And the more we sang it, the more the little bitter dude in the corner started, frowning up, and he said, that's not true. And I said, excuse me, Mr. So-and-so, like, wow, you're actually speaking today? You got something to say? Because this dude don't never have nothing to say to nobody, And, he is self-segregated. He said, it's just not true what you're saying. That's not true. And I said, what not true, Mr. So? He looked at it. I said, oh, really? How? And he said the most disturbing thing that I'll never forget, because sadly, if you go along with the military complex state of mind, then what he said would be true. But if you're not caught up in the madness, then it still doesn't check out ethically. It never will check out morally. It never checks out humanitarian. But if you're stuck on, as I'm talking about all the time, if you're putting money first instead of respect first, and then power, and then money, and then and always money at the end of the equation, because quite frankly, before money existed, it didn't have to exist. It's a forced concept that has been running humanity into the ground since its inception. And that was the first thing he said. He said, it creates business. And he started talking about how, if you take resources and he pretty much said in his own grumpy turd way, because I'll say this, and this is no disrespect to I'll put it like this. I know too many veterans who would agree with me, who understand what's twisted about the whole game and what happens. So I know I wouldn't be offending anybody who's died for something to realize, or damn near died, or seen people die for something to realize, man, I was fighting for something I thought was one thing, but it had nothing to do with me, and it had nothing to do with my family, and it had nothing to do with truly saving anything and all the other stuff they gave us to think. So this guy was a veteran too, but he was on the mentality of agreeing with all the international bullying and all the imperial mind state and the colonization. He was in with all that. He was complete. That had been his life. He felt that was the way. He thought he was standing on what any white man ought to be standing on, and all of that old crazy. He was right there with it. That was his claim to life, right? So naturally, what I was saying and the way I had rapport with everybody else in the class, no matter who they were, just would eat him up, because it's like, I was basically, the liberal enemy that's talking that liberal nonsense, But I'm like, so I let him speak his piece, and then we pretty much just, everybody in the class just looked like, man, why are you even talking to that fool? And we went back to singing our song, damn it. And moving on with the day, and I did my job, lifted everybody except for the one who can't be lifted because he lived in hell, spirits, and that was that, right? And like I say, what's really weird about all of this stuff, as it always goes, time moves on, things change, and whatever, I cannot even remember which conflict was going on at that time, but now it's a new face of, oh, this is the enemy, and all of that stuff they try to push if you agreeing with the garbage, right? But more and more I see in the press that is not controlled by this monster, that there's a lot of people that are fed up, sick of, and are not with this mess, because they understand. Even if you want to look at it from a business standpoint, and always all this money kind of first conversation instead of the opposite way, even they understand, man, this ain't good for my money. Like, it's not going to turn out in favor of anybody elevating, other than a small, already extremely rich portion of this society. And that's the bottom line. It gets like, you start realizing only those who might sit on the fringes of that level of wealth, like, the millionaire who thinks they'll be a billionaire by the end of the year, or the billionaire who's trying to become a trillionaire, but not ethically, not with any concern of anybody else's livelihood or balance, and no type of real connection to the rest of nature. People who talk that having dominion over bullshit, okay? Those who talk all that kind of nutty. But see, that's what I always know somebody ain't really in the woods. Because if you're really in the woods, if you're really on the beach, if you're really on the mountain, if you're really out there and the rest of it, if you really understand you're a part of it, you don't speak of nature like, I'm going into it, I'm going to hang out with nature. No, you're a part of it. You're a mammal. You're a part of this ecosystem. See, when you realize that, it's a lot different. You can't speak that other conversation. You can't, it don't matter how far you into the matrix. It don't matter how much you got to get out here in the rat race and do what we got to all do to survive this capitalist situation we are tolerating for those of us who know what it really ought to be, right? We know, but we doing what we got to do. Plain and simple. You know, I'm driving right now into the fog. It's so symbolic. Let me flip the camera. I don't want you to feel it. I want you to feel it. You understand me? I want you to feel it. You know, driving right now into the fog, baby. Into the fog, you know. You don't know what's ahead, but you know you gotta go. You don't even know what's ahead. I know where I know usually where this takes me. I gotta go where I gotta go. I gotta do what I gotta do. Right? So we all out here surviving, but at what cost if you're playing the game in total allegiance to this imperial mind state? Are you a rebel for real? Like, you know, to my Star Wars fans, anybody who's a Star Wars fan, I say all the time, it's funny when I look at fandom, how it amazes me how polarized pop culture communities can be. And how when it comes to these concepts of conservative or liberal or all these damn terms and all these damn little labels and mentalities, and, you know, those who are totally with the prison industrial complex and totally with the militarization of everything and totally with totalitarian regimes taking over and all this other insane madness we're tolerating and dealing with and surviving. You know, for those who are part of it, they with it, they like it, they, you know, I say to myself, it's funny how when it comes to fandom, you ever notice how now there's some people out here, they know it's not popular to do that in a direct way, so they don't literally want to be said that they genuinely wish they were Darth Vader and were the Empire and want to be the Empire. But that's really what they are. They're the Empire, man. Like, they really are the decrepit emperor sitting on a throne somewhere the only thing that looks clean about this fool is the cloak and how cool that looks, because if the hood come back, you're like, oh man, hey, somebody get this man some lotion and a sandwich, goddamn, you know, motherfucker falling apart, skin all creased in, and you beyond elderly, man. You are dying, you're dead and you came back. Motherfucker great, he ain't even got a skin tone, you know, and he's sitting up there God damn. Can't even speak. Everything he says sounds like somebody throwing up. I used to love that voice though. It'd be so funny. So this fool literally talk like he's throwing up. Lord Vader. Oh my gosh. Like, yo, and it goes from concept to concept. All of us brilliant artists that write these characters for y'all to try to wake you up to what it all is. You got Jabba the Hutt, like, anybody who's like, I mean, you know, they done made a stuffed toy and a whatever out of everything. But I've never bought a Jabba the Hutt anything. There's nothing in me wanted to. I didn't even want the playset, even as cool as that was, for everybody who stood around in Jabba's palace and everything. You know, the other folk was what made it interesting to me. Especially all my rebels, okay? Because I'm a rebel, all right? You know what I'm saying? Rebel allegiance all day, baby, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, Jedis, what? Come on. And hey, I got to pull back on that a little bit. I'm more of a gray Jedi because, you know, they done revealed the truth about the psychology of some of the mess that the Jedi do, you know? And I like that. They're complicating. It ain't black and white. It ain't that simple. It's so much, and that's how the real world is. But back to Jabba in that, man, I couldn't get with that nasty looking fat cretin. You know, that's not, hey, that's not my favorite character. I'm not wearing a t-shirt with his nasty ass on the front of it. Like, who wants a Jabba the Hutt t-shirt? Like, have you ever seen a Jabba the Hutt t-shirt? Nobody wears Jabba, man. That's how I feel about these idiots in charge that are doing what they're doing in this world right now. It's like this motherfucker, it's like Jabba the Hutt with a blonde toupee on, man. Like, are you serious right now? Like, How in the hell could anybody support and back that up? But then you have to remember, this is what I've come to realize. There's a lot of people like that person that sat in the corner of that room at that senior center and didn't associate with nobody because he's so evil and so angry and so bitter and so. That's how you get those minions. That's how you get those people who support this ideology. That's how you get this kind of these fools who, and in Jabba's place, the symbolism is all there. Nobody in Jabba's palace likes him. Even the things that pretend to like him are only there hoping he'll drop a little money on them every night. And he'll just sprinkle some extra change. Maybe they already on payroll to be his entertainment. But they know, hell, man, if he fart wrong or belch wrong at the wrong moment, Jabba gonna throw you in the pit with the rancor. For fun. He just, fuck it. You don't want to go get ate today. Ah! And everybody crowds around and watches you get eaten. Saying, damn, I'm glad it ain't me. Like, this is literally what the hell we got going on. This is what we got going on. Literally. This is literally what we got going on, people. Anything that pisses off Jabba's sick, twisted, fat, nasty, slimy mouth, fat ass, gross ass temper. Think about it. This mofo had Princess Leia in the sexy outfit with the chain linked to her and would be pulling her by her neck to any time he wanted her, beckoning her call. Does this not sound familiar to the reports that have not been fully released of what we've heard and we know is true if you're not under the bullshit? Okay, you know this is Jabba's. It's like if the reports come out, you're gonna see Jabba with a chain around a bunch of folks' necks, pulling them to him and choking them and throwing folk into the rancor pit and all. They just don't want you to see it, but you already saw it. It's in the sci-fi movies. It's in the concepts. The archetypes have been there before these fools ever became what they become. You don't have to wait to see the files. You already know what's in them. You already know the mentality of the type of sicko you're tolerating. You already know. It's Jabba's palace, people. It's Jabba's palace. That's what's happening in DC. It's Jabba's palace. Jabba's palace, man. And anybody around here talking about, yeah, go Jabba, go, you out of your freaking mind. You're gone. You're literally gone. We don't need to look at these people like, well, why? Dude, stop asking why, man. It didn't make no sense that all them fools was in Jabba's palace. The only thing that makes sense about it, the only logic you can put with it, is they're obsessed with the money, power, respect mentality. They put money first instead of respect first, then power, and we got to deal with money. That's all. That's how it is. It's respect first always, but they don't. That's the rebels over here saying that because we know better. We fighting for the better day. We fighting for the wake up. We fighting for. Come on, man. That's disgusting. That's who would be behind that. Who would follow that? Look at this thing, man. But as I said, fools will tolerate all kind of mess just to get a trinket, and that's what they're doing, and that's what they've always done. For those who fall into that mindset, it's always been an archetype since this concept of money and that type of power and that type of false, not real, false version of respect. That's not real respect. I'm gonna respect that fool. And you say, well, they fear so they respect. Fear and respect are two different things. They're completely opposite of each other. It's not the same. Actual respect, you got to understand something. You got to explore and understand. Once you have understanding, you can compromise even with things you have odds with. You say, oh, I don't do all that, but I can dig this, or I understand why you're doing that. We good. And you can come to some understanding. But if you ain't got that in your heart, in no way, you just, I'm standing on mine and I ain't changed. Okay.
Rebel Alliance. We're gonna figure it out. You know, hey, at the end of the day, at the end of all the great stories, who still wins? Damn it! Even in the ones where it seemed like the evil forces they gonna win, they not gonna win. They can't win. The universe will not allow that. It's not balanced. It will destroy everything. If you're nothing but destroying and you're never building, you will not be allowed. That is the levels of nature. It will not allow that type of chaos forever and ever and ever. It just don't go. It does not go that way. So Jabba will die. Jabba will perish. And all the fools who sit with him on the barge when they throwing folk into the sand monster, even the ones who could redeem themselves, Boba Fett, my dog, I love Boba Fett. That's my character. I love Boba Fett, you know? But I love him especially once they gave him a full story and he got redemption. Like, oh man, this dude is the coolest shit ever. My brother, my brother came back and got his head right, seen the world for what it really is and all was and being how he was. And, oh man, this dude is the coolest. Really though. And that made me want to. I'm gonna have to I can't rewatch it yet. Of this thing, cause there's a price tag of Jabba's palace on it. Now I was thinking I had Disney Plus, but I let it flop this year because I said, you know what, man, I'm tired of that bill. That bill was hitting me too hard every year when I would least suspect it. And it always come in the beginning. It always, like, when it first hit, it's like, pow, your account get this hit. And I was like, whoa, 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 wait a minute, what is that? What is, what is that? That was almost $200 that just hit. Cause I would do the annual. Man, that mess with it would scare me every year. I'd be like, oh gosh, that's damn this, but I wouldn't be ready for it, you know. So I cut it down, I cut it off last year when it happened, and I said, okay. And then that's funny when it gave me the notice this year. It was like it was the 31st I got the notice. It's like, we're sorry to see you go. We got another deal for you if you want it, and we'll throw in ESPN. I don't even watch that much sports. What are you talking about, man? I don't need no damn ESPN. I'm good. We'll throw in Hulu. Okay, now you're tempting me because there are some things on Hulu I do want to see. But, man, I ain't even got that much time to be on TV like that. So whatever, y'all can keep it. I'll be all right. I'm trying to save up my money so I can afford a couple of months of Netflix. Shit, when that new Cyberpunk animation drops, because that I have to see. Okay, hey, I'll pay that 20 ridiculous. It should have never got to $20 plus. Absolutely absurd. I'll pay that just to see that. Yes, I will. Yeah. I gotta watch that probably 3 times back to back because I know it's gonna be great, just like Edge Runners. You know, I know it's gonna be great. So yeah, I'm with that, but I'm gonna wait it out, man. I'm not gonna get forced into the hype. You gotta have this. You gotta have this. What? So you can sit there amongst 10, 20 other channels on your TV that you don't even have time to watch. I can understand. I thought about it and I realized a lot of people, the reason they got it, because they got kids and a household full of folk. When you live with other people, I don't do. I'm single as hell. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if I got lady friend company, that's different. But other than that, it's just me. I'm not worried about. I don't have multiple TVs on in my place. You know. So it's different, but I get it. When I think about friends of mine, they got kids and all that, and everybody, there's always somebody home, always a TV on. That makes sense if you living like that, but I'm not living like that. That's not my reality, not at all. That ain't got nothing to do with me. So it's a different situation. Yeah, we all got to play off of the cards we dealt. That's what I've learned. you better, you better. Man, it is seriously foggy out here. Look at this, y'all. Look at this. Look at this fog. Look at this fog. Whoa. Whoa, I ain't seen it foggy like this in a minute. It ain't nothing new to me. I've been through it before many times, too many to mention. But there's some serious fog out here this morning. Serious. Yes, it is. But we maintain. Like I said, we go into the fall, seem like we know where we're going, but we've been here before, so we know the route. I mean, I know what should be ahead. We just looking at the road itself, make sure it's okay. Somebody said no snow. What's good? No, no snow here. This is Atlanta. Where you at? It must be snow all around you. Where you at? Toby, you must be a subscriber because only my subscribers can speak. So talk to me. Tell me where you from, where you at, what's your age range. We don't need the actual age. I just like to ask my people, 20s, 30s, 40s, what age range, because I know my demographics and I love to find out who's really watching when I can actually talk to the people. So yeah, let me know where you at. You talking about the snow? 'Cause you must be Midwest or up north, East Coast up north or something like that. Cause nah, man, we ain't got it yet. I say yet, yet. It's possible. It's definitely always possible. We've had some really cold, frigid, real frigid mornings and days. Hitting 30s, hitting teens at night, that kind of stuff. But nothing has pushed us over the edge. Yeah, we've been getting rain too. That's the one thing. Now, if we keep getting rain and it get cold again, see, right now it's what is it right now? Let me see. It is probably about 40, yeah, 45 degrees right now, and by midday, I think they say it'll be 63 today for the high, something like that. So it ain't gonna get warm. It's gonna be cool, like it was yesterday. It was these cool days. That feel like you're just standing in a refrigerator with no wind. Because if you add wind in, it always gets cold. Because we average 8 to 10 mile winds on windy days, and it always makes it colder. So you know, if we get that and we get this rain and then it hit one of them freezing things again, we'll get some snow. I mean, hopefully we won't get what we got last year. Because like the first time it snowed last year, it was like, oh, this is pretty, this is nice, I love it. Okay, great, we got some snow for the year. Isn't that wonderful? Adults, kids, everybody can enjoy the moment. And that was that. It was down, and we think it's gonna melt, and then I think it was like we had a day of it starting to melt, and then it came back. We was like, okay, enough is a damn enough, because it's never just snow in Atlanta. We get ice, but this was real snow mostly, and we remember a little bit of this ice stuff. But this was real snow. It was fluffy and everything, and it came down even more. And I said, what the hell? Wait a minute now, because we don't. We're not. It was like in some places they got the salt trucks and stuff, so they're prepared. But in other places they ain't prepared for that. And it's like, and from county to county, they might not be prepared for that. And the counties make up the metro. So, like even where I am right now, this area may have been clear with salt on the roads and stuff. But then another area, nope. It's just you just in it. Oh man, made it in the nick of time. Yeah, yeah. Made it in the nick of time. All right, y'all. I'm checked in and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. Hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait. The motto of so many jobs I've had in this lifetime. So many jobs I've had in this lifetime. That is the phrase right there. The phrase that pays. Like, yeah, it pays, but you gonna deal with that phrase. You hurry up and wait. All my military friends say that's where that came from. They say they use that all the time. You know. Shout out to all my people in the military and stuff that told me their stories. Let me see. Yo, sorry for not answering. Uh, I'm in Northern Ireland. By the way, you got it correct. Now, when you say Northern Ireland, what are we talking about? What state? What country? I feel like you're trying to say something about New York, because New York has got a lot of islands, but you got to be specific. Can't use the whole world is watching, man. The whole world is watching. They don't know your local lingo. They want to hear what it is exact. The one that goes with the whole world. Like, oh, UK. Wow. Oh, we across the pond. We're on the other side of the pond. Okay. Now, tell me then, mate. Now, what's the age range? Are you one of my folks in their 20s, 30s, 40s? I even got some teenage audience. And I try to tell my young audience all the time. I say, look, man, if your parents don't know you on here, this is a grown folk show. All of my content, I make it to be PG-13 to even rated R some stuff, and I let y'all know.
I'm not the irresponsible content creator. I let folk know, and I just want people to be responsible about it. Like, I know I got stuff that would appeal to kids and it's family content, but that's the key word, family. Sit there next to mama and be like, look what I saw. And then she can look and say, oh, that's a cute cat video. And oh, look at those shoes. And look at that nice uh, toy or whatever else I post in the shorts. And or even sometimes long videos. Like I got a whole long video recently where I was in one of my favorite stores, did a kind of semi tour for y'all on this kind of style. We cover a lot. Like I say, multi niche. So in honest kind of style, I was doing that video. It's still up. I need y'all to put some numbers on that. Please go watch it. I think you'll. If you one of my shoe heads, not okay. Here's my teenage folk. Okay, young world, what's good? So you know, I know I got all kind of folks watching. This is my point of what I'm saying, right? So I try to keep that in mind, even though I'm not gonna stop doing what I do the way I do it. It's gonna be what it is. Everybody else, people got to govern themselves. You know what I'm saying? People got to stop blaming other folk for the problems they create in their life by inappropriate exposure to stuff at the wrong ages and stuff. Like, there's no way in the hell I would. I mean, I'm an uncle, and there's no way in the hell I would even let my niece and nephew be looking at nothing in my presence. I don't know if I hear them on a tablet looking at something, they too into all in it. I said, "What you looking at? What is that?" You know, and they know I'm gonna do it, so they it keep them right. Like they don't push no, they don't be looking at nothing they ain't supposed to be looking at least around me, because they know it, Uncle don't play that mess, man. He gonna be like, what is this? Like, and it could be seemingly innocent in the sense that, yeah, okay, like okay, so they building a car. Like my nephew, he love cars and stuff, so they building a car. Okay, that's cool, but it's grown ass men building a car, and they talking grown folks shit. They cussing. Man, no, hell no. You need to put on something else with a car, because that ain't it for you. This ain't you. Because they talking straight up 30, 40-year-old man stuff and laughing all whatever, and somebody got a beer in their hand. Nah, this ain't. It's like when we having our grown folk conversation. I be like, all right, get up out the room. We talking grown folk talk. I remember that age where, yeah, we still in the other room trying to listen and stuff. But you ain't gonna be right in the line of fire. You ain't gonna be right there trying to interpret adult perspectives on something, because you're not gonna understand everything. I don't give a damn how savvy and brilliant you are. You're not going to understand. There's gonna be moments where you like, why did they get so loud? Why were they upset? They may not even be upset. Depending on the situation. They talking about politics. It get people riled up. They ain't mad at each other. They talking about the situation. What you ain't got to understand. You ain't supposed to. Go in there and watch Bluey. Goddamn. Bluey's on. Cut on Bluey. Get up out of here, man. It's grown folk time. What you doing? Oh Lord. So anyway, talking about, speaking of grown folk time, some other topics that I wanted to address. But I will say before I remember what else I was gonna add, I'm working on a new one for y'all, and this is the next chapter in my Cyberpunk ATL joint, which is completely for grown folks only. Okay, all right. I want to make that very clear. See, see, I know how weird this stupid world is. People be doing half-ass parenting, and then they want to sue the content creator for being an artist and putting something out for adults in the first damn place. That you didn't manage your household. Kids looking at it ain't supposed to be looking at it. That ain't my fault. So if your kid grow up talking about they trying to be like a character I created in a show, and they around here, think that they're a cyber genetically modified cyber psycho or whatever, and they shoot up a school or something, hey, don't blame that on me. That ain't got shit to do with me. That's you not managing your goddamn house. You need to handle your business. Stay on these kids and keep up with what they looking at and listening to. And listening to. Especially. Woo woo. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So, yeah, I got a new one for y'all. And like I say, it's grown folks only. I would say 18 and up. Straight up. You know? It ain't even PG-13. It's 18 and up. Cause we dealing with some concepts in there that only grown folks gonna understand fully. And it's I'm very proud of it. I was working on it last night. I had to really stop myself, because when I get in the zone, y'all, when I get in that creative zone, all my artists understand what I'm talking about. It's like I do not want to stop.
I just want to get it because it's in you. It's like you're pregnant with the idea. Like your head is pregnant. You got a big bulb of a baby right here. You're like, I just got to get it out. I got to get it out. I got to sing it out, talk it out, draw it out, s- massage it out, martial arts it out, cook it out. These are the arts. You see what I'm saying? I got to get it out. I have to get this idea. I got to write it out. I got to vocalize it. I got to, orate it out. I got to get this idea out. And this one had been riding me for months because I had not done a new one in a while. And I just decided, I said, I can't take it no more. We don't went into the new year. I said I was gonna get this done before the end of last year. I said, oh, I know I got, but it's right on time. Ain't nothing late. It's right when it was supposed to happen because it's a fresh story arc inside of this concept of cyberpunk ATL. So it's really where I break down my character Mantis. And if you've been with me on this journey, and then you know what I'm talking about. You know about Mantis. You know about unfinished Cyberpunk 2077. Unfinished business was the very first introduction to the character, and then I came back with Cyberpunk ATL. And when Cyberpunk ATL started, he's your orator. He's your main character. He's the guy who tells you about this world in Atlanta and how it is and all of that. And so, excuse me. And so, you know, hold on 1 second. Let me see. Um, da. Let's see. Oh boy. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Anyway, so I did this thing where the main character is just telling you his story about how he's a fixer. And if you know Cyberpunk 2077, you know what a fixer is. But basically, they are the ones that arrange jobs and deal with all types of levels of conflicts from from corpo to street level to nomad. It doesn't matter. It's the way of the ecosystem of financial and infrastructural power in this cyberpunk world. And basically, my character is doing a you know what? Yeah. Okay. So basically, the character is a dude who has a lot of different. They say you have to have about 7 to 8 streams of income to survive, even in our modern reality. Now, how many people actually have that many? That's a whole nother story. A lot of people like to front and act like they making that kind of money and doing all that different stuff. Man, that's hard as hell to maintain. And most people just don't, because you don't have but how many hours in a day that you're actually awake, and you do need sleep, because some people try to pretend you don't need sleep, and then they end up with the health troubles that come from that.